Hey guys, it's your girl Tara Crush back with another review, and this time it is for Sistas on BET. If you haven't already, please hit my subscribe button down at the bottom. Thank you so very much. And let's get right on into it, shall we? This was a jam-packed episode, wouldn't you say? Okay, so let's start out with Hayden with his little Napoleon Bonaparte complex having self. Okay, so short dude is sitting there antagonizing Andy, who's peering into Robin's office trying to figure out what the heck Gary and Robin are talking about, right? And of course, he's antagonizing her like, don't you want to know what they're talking about? Because I know what they're talking about, blah, blah, blah. She said, what I will assume if he's here, it's business. He said, oh, yeah, it was business at first. And, you know, just being, you know, the short twerp that he is. That's it and that's all. Hayden is nothing. Like, he's literally nothing. And I'm sick of him. And I sincerely hope that he winds up in a funeral, starring in it. I don't know. I hope that something happens to him because he's just doing way too much. He is plotting and it is getting out of hand. Okay, so let's talk about Gary and Robin real quick. That meeting was crazy, right? So I guess they are going to be doing business together, and we find out very shortly what that business is actually going to be, but Robin really doesn't know. But his head is fogged. And Gary's sitting here antagonizing him, asking him not to, obstruct any boundaries, between himself and Andy or whatever. He's like, what are you talking about? Because basically Gary's trying to call the shots with how he handles Andy. And he's like, he was like, disrespect the boundaries. He said, she ain't got a ring on her finger. He said a ring represents boundaries. So I was like, oh, you better tell him. You better tell him, Big Bird. Well, I can't call him Big Bird no more. He got all this now. He got all this. He's light, but he's still a dark. Y'all. I was like, Robin, I am definitely liking what you putting down. He said, you can have a seat. He said, no, I'd rather stand. He said, why? To show me how tall you are? No, to show you how insecure you are. You are so insecure, Gary. It is ridiculous. And it just, you exude insecurity. So that whole conversation was funny. And him, telling Gary he could leave, all that good stuff, funny as well. And I just feel like he handled that 100% like the champ. Okay, so leaving that meeting, Gary is just prancing around the office, gallivanting around the office, because he feels like he just scored points or whatever. And he Hayden meets him at the elevator, and Hayden's basically like, yeah, I'm going to set this up. Basically, they're going to basically try to steal the law firm from Robin. So that's what the elaborate plan is, to get, Robin out of it, or at least make it to where he is no longer Andy's boss. They've got investors, and I don't know if Robin even knows that they are going to be brokering a deal for his firm, which is crazy. Which he wouldn't be the attorney that he's supposed to be if that was the case. Like, really? That's crazy. So that's a big deal. So, of course, Hayden wants to know what he's getting out of it. He wants to know if he can get Zach's money taken, if Gary would take it. If he can find somebody to take it. And Gary was like, man, I don't do that. He said, that's not business. I'm not messing that brother up. And he was like, why not? I'm helping you. Because that's what Hayden is, because he's short, he's little bitty, so he's got a little bitty complex, and he's just always trying to flex his powers because he don't really have that many. So the couple of one or two that he may have, he wants to flex it. And I'm so sick of him. But Gary was like, okay, I'll do it for, he said, could you do it for a friend? He was like, okay, he said, answer me just this one question. What is it about Zach? Why are you so out for this dude? And he was like, it ain't even about him. It's about that big booty Fatima. He was like, what about her? He was like, what y'all used to date? He said, we went out on one date. One date. He said, well, that means something to me. And I don't know why Hayden feels like she wants him and only Zach is in the way. Dude, you are wasting your time. You're going to get yourself killed, which keep going. Because I want you gone, bro. You be better served on a different series. This ain't the one for you, bro. You got to go. You have worn out your welcome. Don't need you there. And so I thought it was just quite interesting that he was actually proposing that Gary do this. And Gary basically walked away from him and said, I'm not doing that. And, you know, he's mad. But, of course, he's going to be mad, little bitty dude. Like, why would he do that? Like, and compromise his whole company? Which is shocking to me because I thought he was a fluke. I thought he was a crook anyway. Okay, and then Q being there and just trying to flirt with Danny was just, boy, go on. And she said she can spot a scrub a mile away. I said, you got scrub dar. Her scrub dar was going off. Boop, 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 boop. He was like, oh, so you judge me? She said, nah, that ankle bracelet is kind of, he's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Ugh. He's just so, trash. And wait till she figures out who he is. They really gonna get into it. And I was very proud of her for calling that man, asking him to go, meet her for drinks or whatever. She said, make sure you bring your wallet. Why don't Danny ever have any money is my question. Like, you don't ever have any money, Danny. Like, really, what's going on? What's going on, Danny? Danny, do you have a heroin problem we don't know about? Are you a pill popper? We know about the weed, Danny, but what else is it, Danny? Why don't you ever have money, Danny? Danny, you can talk to us. You can talk to us. We are your friends, girl. So, that was cute. Okay, so let's talk about Andy and her going into the office with Robin and why this was just like, it was, to me, crazy. Because I didn't see it coming. She goes in the office and he is ice cold with her. I mean, there is an ice box where his heart used to be. There's an ice box where his heart used to be. He's so cold, he's so cold, he's so cold, he's so cold, He was cold to her, and I just could not get it. And he was just like, I thought your caliber of men. And I thought he was talking about Gary. Y'all, he was talking about Paris. I was like, oh, who told him about Paris? He said, I heard you slept with a janitor here. Who told you that? And he was like, you got a reputation. Excuse me? Now, see, I don't like the way Andy allows these men to just berate her and disrespect her verbally like that. Now, I understand that's your boss, but honestly, you could take the company. Because the way he's treating you now, that's sexual harassment, baby. He can't be your boss having, fraternized with you and now wants to catch an attitude because competition comes. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Oh, no, sir. Because you definitely shoo Gary away and was like, boy, go on. I'll do what I want to do. But really, deep down, you don't want to deal with Andy. Why would you talk to her like that? You going to ask her about her STDs? If she's got any, how often she goes to get checked? How often do you go get checked? Last time I checked, sir, you're the one that introduced your penis with a vagina to Andy. Ain't you the one that asked her to have a threesome? How about we get your papers, bro? You got some nerve going to question Andy. And so what's wrong with a janitor? What's wrong with a janitor? At least he never talked to her the way you're talking to her. In fact, I liked him for her. Yes, he was economically, in a lower class, but so what? That doesn't have anything to do with his character. And he had a good character, even though, he wasn't mama's boy though, but still, who are you to turn your nose up? Now, if you want to talk about Gary and how he just threatened you, say that. But don't sit here and act like, you know, you just holier than thou, because I swear you introduced her to threesomes. Better go on somewhere talking to Andy like that, big bird. Better fly on away somewhere. Oh, you made me mad. Now mind you, she deserved it, because she was sleeping with Gary like the night before. Like, like you can't even be mad, Andy. You definitely sleeping with Gary and Robin. And you just upset because Robin didn't tell you he was coming in town. But hey, then send him a doggone email telling him about the doggone Paris. And you gonna think it was Gary. And Fatima don't know no better. But I tell you, I promise you, Hayden is going to tell on himself. Because Gary's mad at him. He's like, man, she's going to think I told him. And he was like, because he's like, how did you know? He said, man, you called and told me. God. I can't stand Hayden. I cannot stand him. I cannot. When Andy went to talk to Fatima, I liked that conversation, because Fatima's just a supportive friend. I really like the way she supports Andy, and this is why we fell in love with her character to begin with, is because she's always coming to save Andy. And this is no different time, because Andy can't find anybody to help her with Sabrina's status or anything. And so Fatima said she knows somebody, and her cousin. And her cousin is Madam. Ooh, Madam is from All the Queen's Men. So I know she's ruthless. I only saw like the first half of the first episode of that series. I've not watched it, but I might go ahead and watch it so I can learn a little bit more about her, because we find out that she is the one that got Hayden beat up the first time. So we like her. She's our friend. But I don't know how it's going to work and how she's going to get, you know, Andy to Sabrina. But I have a feeling she's going to make it happen, because, hey, this is what she's there for. Now, she's a very dangerous cousin. So it was funny when Fatima was trying to explain to Andy, like, yeah, she's very expensive. And Andy was like, oh, right now money's no problem. And she was like, yeah, it might not be monetary. That means you're going to have to represent some thugs, which I like that introduction into the show. I just like it. There's like a different twist, you know. So say next season, Madam comes back, you know, I'm just predicting the future, comes back with a client that she needs to, yeah. And then we got that whole twisted thing, and then she could file for him or whatever. And then I was also thinking that maybe Madam might wind up being a love interest of Robin's. Who's to say? If she has to come to the office and they run into each other, because she is bad. That is Eva. America's Next Top Model season cycle 2. Or was it 3? Maybe it was 3. But either way. And so, before I end it, I do want to talk about Karen. Well, her little crybaby self. Karen and Lisa. Now, Lisa, she kind of grew on me a little bit this episode. She was kind of funny talking to Aaron and whatnot. And I thought, you know, she was like, you sure can't pick him because he's a sexy little priest. Like, I was like, Lisa, she said, no worries. I'm not competition. He's too old for me. What are you, like 35? She's like, 32 is my cap. I said, so you like him younger than your daughter? That's a little nasty, Lisa, but whatever. I guess she don't want to hear about no back and knee pain, so she's like, young. I'm like, you better get it, girl. So, of course, Karen wrote these notes, one for Aaron and one for Zach. And I'm not sure what's going to be in the notes, but I did see Aaron crying his eyes out. And I don't know if it's because she's breaking his heart or if it's because she's letting him know that she wants to be with him. But it didn't look like a happy cry to me. It looked like a cry to me. We didn't see what Zach looked like. And I'm hoping that she's telling Zach that it's not his baby. Please be telling Zach that it's not his baby, because you know it's not. That's why you was upset when you found out how far along he was, because you knew that it wasn't going to be his baby, and it's a very long shot for it to be Zach's baby. So I'm hoping that's what you're calling him over for. because I need Zach to be free of this show so that Fatima can be free of that connection and having to answer to it on this show. I'm ready for season 2 of Fatima, and that's just that on that. So we're just going to have to wait until next week to see exactly what's in those notes. Wouldn't you know it? So there is where I'm going to end the review, because again, this was an action-packed episode. I'm going to try to trim as much fat off of this review as I can. Y'all be patient with me, but again, I just appreciate y'all being here. And again, if you haven't already, please hit my subscribe button down at the bottom. Thank you so very much. Okay, and so again, if you're just not one of them type of people that like to subscribe to channels, that's cool. You got to the end of this video, and I need you to, and you are appreciated as well. Just know. We cool. Okay? All right. And that is my $5.02. Peace.